There's a strange anxiety that appears the moment someone says the phrase, "a religion without God." Faces tighten, eyebrows rise, fingers itch to type angry comments, because for centuries, religion and God have been treated like an inseparable married couple, arguing, toxic, codependent, but never allowed to divorce. The idea that religion could exist without a deity feels like telling people coffee can exist without caffeine, or politics without hypocrisy. Unthinkable, offensive, heretical. And yet, here we are. A religion without God does not begin by denying the existence of God. That would be too childish, too reactionary, too loud. No, it begins by quietly asking a far more dangerous question. What if God is not necessary? That question alone already commits social suicide in most cultures, because God has become the ultimate shortcut. When humans do not know, they insert God. When humans cannot explain, they invoke God. When humans do not want to take responsibility, they outsource it to God. God becomes the cosmic customer service representative for everything humans refuse to own: suffering, injustice, disaster, morality, even laziness. A religion without God starts by revoking that customer service line. It says there is no divine manager to complain to. Suddenly, everything becomes uncomfortable.
Without God, who decides what is right and wrong? Without God, who punishes evil? Without God, who rewards goodness? Without God, who watches you when no one else does? Exactly. Now the spotlight turns back to you. A godless religion is not atheism dressed up in spiritual cosplay. Atheism often stops at disbelief. It says, "There is no God," and then shrugs, goes back to scrolling, and calls it intellectual victory. A godless religion goes further. It says, "Fine, no God. Now what the hell are you going to do about your suffering?" This is where things get interesting and deeply offensive. Because once God is removed from the equation, morality loses its divine warranty. There is no eternal stamp of approval, no holy copyright, no cosmic threat hovering over your head saying, "Behave or else." Suddenly, being ethical is no longer a fear-based transaction. You are not kind to avoid hell. You are not honest to earn heaven. You are not compassionate to impress an invisible observer. You are ethical because suffering is real. Not punished, not rewarded, real. And reality, unlike God, does not negotiate.
A religion without God begins with a blunt premise: life hurts. Not because of sin, not because of divine testing, not because a deity is teaching you a lesson. Life hurts because existence is unstable, attachment is addictive, and humans are spectacularly bad at understanding their own minds. This alone already dismantles half of traditional theology. No original sin, no chosen people, no divine favoritism, no sacred bloodlines. Just consciousness, craving, fear, habit, and consequence. And consequence is the real God humanity has been worshiping all along, just without admitting it. In this religion, karma is not cosmic bookkeeping managed by angels with spreadsheets. Karma is not a moral vending machine. Karma is simply momentum. You train your mind in greed, it leans toward greed. You rehearse anger, it shows up faster next time. You normalize violence, it becomes easier to justify. No divine judge required. Cause and effect are ruthless enough.
Ironically, this makes the religion far more demanding than theistic ones. You cannot pray your way out of consequences. You cannot confess and reset the scoreboard. You cannot blame Satan. You cannot say, God willed it.
There is no metaphysical escape hatch. This religion is brutally fair, and humans hate that. Because humans love loopholes. Humans love forgiveness that requires no transformation. Humans love salvation that bypasses self-awareness. A godless religion offers none of that comfort. It offers practice instead, observation, discipline, responsibility, the terrifying freedom of owning your inner life. And this is where critics usually panic and shout, "So this religion has no hope?" On the contrary, it has the only hope that survives reality. Hope not based on divine intervention, but on mental training. In a godless religion, liberation is not granted, it is cultivated, not gifted, not inherited, not promised after death. It is practiced here, now, in the mess of your habits, relationships, impulses, and contradictions. You do not worship, you investigate. You do not submit, you observe. You do not surrender your will, you refine it. This religion replaces faith with attention. Instead of believing in sacred texts, you test them against experience. Instead of obeying commandments, you examine consequences. Instead of fearing God, you study your own craving. Because craving ruins lives far more efficiently than any demon ever did. Of course, this makes religious institutions deeply uncomfortable. Because institutions thrive on authority, not inquiry, on obedience, not awareness, on certainty, not nuance. A godless religion offers no divine throne to sit on, no absolute voice to quote, no holy sentence to end arguments. And nothing terrifies power structures more than a population trained to observe rather than obey. This is why a godless religion often gets accused of being cold, empty, or nihilistic. But that accusation usually comes from people who mistake emotional dependency for spirituality. They want a cosmic parent, not a path, a protector, not a practice, a promise, not a process. A godless religion does not promise to save you. It teaches you how to stop setting yourself on fire. And yes, that is far less romantic, but it is honest. There is no metaphysical escape hatch. This religion is brutally fair, and humans hate that. Because humans love loopholes. Humans love forgiveness that requires no transformation. Humans love salvation that bypasses self-awareness. A godless religion offers none of that comfort. It offers practice instead, observation, discipline, responsibility, the terrifying freedom of owning your inner life. And this is where critics usually panic and shout, "So this religion has no hope?" On the contrary, it has the only hope that survives reality. Hope not based on divine intervention, but on mental training. In a godless religion, liberation is not granted, it is cultivated, not gifted, not inherited, not promised after death. It is practiced here, now, in the mess of your habits, relationships, impulses, and contradictions. You do not worship, you investigate. You do not submit, you observe. You do not surrender your will, you refine it. This religion replaces faith with attention. Instead of believing in sacred texts, you test them against experience. Instead of obeying commandments, you examine consequences. Instead of fearing God, you study your own craving. Because craving ruins lives far more efficiently than any demon ever did. Of course, this makes religious institutions deeply uncomfortable. Because institutions thrive on authority, not inquiry, on obedience, not awareness, on certainty, not nuance. A godless religion offers no divine throne to sit on, no absolute voice to quote, no holy sentence to end arguments. And nothing terrifies power structures more than a population trained to observe rather than obey. This is why a godless religion often gets accused of being cold, empty, or nihilistic. But that accusation usually comes from people who mistake emotional dependency for spirituality. They want a cosmic parent, not a path, a protector, not a practice, a promise, not a process. A godless religion does not promise to save you. It teaches you how to stop setting yourself on fire. And yes, that is far less romantic, but it is honest.
Once God has been politely shown the exit, the next accusation arrives almost immediately. So what's left? Empty rituals? Dry philosophy? Spiritual boredom? This question reveals how deeply religion has been reduced to entertainment. If there is no divine audience, people assume the performance loses meaning. No applause from heaven, no reason to show up. A religion without God shatters that assumption, and in doing so exposes something uncomfortable. Most religious rituals were never about God in the first place. They were about training the human mind. Let's talk about rituals. In a godless religion, rituals are not offerings, they are exercises. No incense for deities, no food for statues, no kneeling to impress cosmic authority. Instead, rituals function like mental gyms, repetitive, boring, unglamorous, and effective if practiced consistently. Meditation, silence, fasting, chanting, posture, breath control, none of these require God, they require discipline. And discipline, unlike faith, does not fluctuate with mood. This is where believers get offended.
Because without God, rituals lose their magical insurance policy. You don't chant to summon blessings. You chant to observe the mind's tendency to wander. You don't fast to prove devotion. You fast to see how quickly the ego panics when comfort disappears. You don't bow to something higher. You bow to break arrogance. And yes, that feels humiliating without divine justification. In this religion, rituals are confrontational. They show you your addictions instead of disguising them as devotion. And that is precisely why many people prefer God-based religion. It allows rituals to be symbolic instead of transformative. You can light candles without burning habits. You can pray without changing behavior. You can sing about love while practicing cruelty. A godless religion does not let you off that easily. Now let's move to morality, another sacred cow. Without God, morality becomes deeply inconvenient. There are no commandments etched in cosmic stone, no eternal lawgiver, no absolute rule book to hide behind. Instead, morality becomes situational, experiential, and responsibility-heavy.
In this religion, ethics is not universal in form, but universal in direction. The direction is simple, almost offensively so. Less harm, less delusion, less obsession. The methods, however, vary wildly depending on context, culture, psychology, and maturity. This is where critics scream relativism, but it is not relativism, it is realism. A godless religion does not claim all actions are equal. It claims all actions have consequences, and pretending otherwise is childish. You cannot chant your way out of trauma. You cannot believe your way out of addiction. You cannot pray your way out of abuse. The universe does not care about your intentions. It responds to patterns. Now let's address the idea of the sacred. Without God, what is sacred? This question makes traditional religion laugh nervously because sacredness has been monopolized by divinity for so long that people forget its original function. Sacred does not mean owned by God. Sacred means treated with care because damage is irreversible.
In a godless religion, the sacred is not above life, it is embedded within it. The human mind is sacred because once traumatized, it reshapes reality itself. Attention is sacred because whatever it touches grows. Time is sacred because it never refunds itself. Suffering is sacred because ignoring it multiplies it. None of this requires a deity, it requires honesty. And honesty, unfortunately, does not sell well. Religions with gods offer metaphysical drama, angels, demons, heavens, hells, cosmic wars. A godless religion offers psychological warfare instead, against craving, fear, identity, and self-deception. And that battle is far less glamorous. No costumes, no villains, just habits you secretly enjoy. This is also why atheists often reject godless religion. They think rejecting God means rejecting ritual, meaning, and discipline. They confuse freedom with absence of structure. But a godless religion demands structure, internally enforced. No divine surveillance, no eternal punishment, just the quiet awareness that you cannot escape yourself.
And that awareness is suffocating to those addicted to distraction. A godless religion is not comfortable. It does not validate your beliefs. It does not reassure your identity. It does not care whether you feel spiritually special. It cares whether you are less reactive, less violent, less delusional than yesterday. Progress is measured not in faith, but in friction.
Just silence. This is where critics smirk and say, "See, a godless religion leads to despair." And yet, despair only appears when illusions collapse. Reality itself is not depressing. It is simply unsentimental. A religion without God does not sugarcoat death. It refuses to turn mortality into a loyalty program. No infinite rewards for good behavior. No eternal punishments for bad choices. No metaphysical courtroom where injustices are magically corrected. Death is not moral, it is biological. Consciousness dissolves, patterns disperse, conditions change. And that terrifies people, not because it is cruel, but because it is honest. The promise of an afterlife has always functioned as emotional anesthesia. It dulls the urgency of living. Why reconcile now when eternity waits? Why change today when forgiveness is infinite? Why care for this world when a better one is guaranteed later? A godless religion removes that anesthesia. This life becomes non-refundable. Suddenly, attention matters. Suddenly, relationships matter. Suddenly, cruelty matters because there is no cosmic undo button.
Freedom is subtraction, not accumulation. This enrages consumer spirituality. People want enlightenment to feel like winning the lottery. Instead, it feels like quitting an addiction. There are no fireworks, just fewer fires. Without God, suffering is not justified. There is no divine plan to excuse genocide, illness, or disaster. Nothing happens for a reason. Things happen due to causes, many of them human, many of them preventable. This makes the religion politically dangerous, because once suffering is no longer sacred, Indifference becomes immoral. You cannot shrug and say God's will. You must ask who benefits and who is responsible. A godless religion is allergic to passive cruelty. It refuses to spiritualize injustice. This is why it threatens both religious authorities and secular power structures. It denies divine legitimacy and exposes human accountability. And finally, the most uncomfortable truth: a religion without God does not need belief.
It does not care what you believe about existence, consciousness, or metaphysics. Beliefs are mental decorations. This religion cares about behavior, attention, and consequence. You can doubt everything and still practice. You can reject metaphysics entirely and still reduce harm. In that sense, it is the least evangelical religion imaginable. No conversion, no recruitment, no holy war, no mission to save souls, because souls are not the point. Suffering is, and reducing it requires clarity, not worship. This religion will never be popular. It offers no comforting myths, no cosmic allies, no eternal guarantees. It offers something far more demanding: the courage to live without metaphysical supervision. No God watching, no afterlife waiting, no salvation coming. Just this moment, fragile, fleeting, and entirely your responsibility. And perhaps that is why the idea of a godless religion feels so threatening, because once God is gone, there is no one left to blame. Only choices.